So if I was teaching my students division, I would obviously teach them a variety of methods. Some are more time consuming, some are less, and eventually, hopefully, we lead to the standard algorithm. If I was doing division myself, I would obviously just do the standard algorithm, but that's not going to work when we're first teaching our students division. So, say I was teaching my students division with repeated addition, and that just repeated subtraction. And that strategy just wasn't working. They weren't understanding how using your multiplication facts was subtracting to end up getting you to a final number. They weren't understanding how all those numbers connected. The numbers were confusing them. Obviously, we'd break it down a little bit further. We would do the division with explicit tree method using the base 10 blocks, which is a very time-consuming method. We do not want our students doing this all the time. But with that being said, it's a very clear method, and once students pick up on it, it's a lot easier for them to separate the blocks. So say I had a 100 block that needed to be divided into two groups. Well, obviously we know that'd be 50 and 50, but the students wouldn't know that right away, and they're just taking their time trading it in for 10 blocks, putting one by one. What do you want to do? You want to interrupt? You want to say, hey, let's try this. Remember that 10 divided by 2 is 5, and so that would be 5 groups. Whatever. We want to interrupt. We want to show them an easier way. But sometimes the easier way is not always the best strategy. So a good thing to do when our students are really trying to grasp the concept and understand the mathematics conceptually and not just trying to get to an answer is to really allow them to take their time and be like, hey, what strategy are you using? Try to understand, are they doing the strategy right? So if they were using the base 10s method, obviously I could see, but I would just ask them and see if they're understanding what they're doing, why they're grouping the number that way, and why they have that many groups. And another thing is just after they do that method so many times and they get it down pat, a good thing to lead up to is like, hey, let's try this a little bit more time efficient method. But we really want them to be able to take their time and solve the problem, just not for an answer, but to really understand it. So if they're doing something complicated, it's important not to interrupt, and it's important also not to take control, not to grab the manipulatives yourself and put them into different sections when they're divided, and put them where they need to go, or just swap out 100 for 10s real quick, because they need to understand what each manipulative represents and why they're dividing it that way. And we also don't want to ask them like closed questions when they're trying to divide, because that's just going to lead to them not understanding it fully and not knowing that, hey, this is what I need to do and this is why I need to do it, because this connects. But if I'm just asking them closed questions about why this divides into this, they're not going to be able to grasp the concept fully. So it's important that we avoid all three of those things while we're trying to teach any strategies, but specifically division, and we let them use the longer strategies in the beginning, at least, so they can take the time to understand the concept fully and know that their concept is valued and that their thinking is valued, and that it's okay to do it the long way sometimes, as long as they get to their correct answer and they feel confident in the way they solved it.